Hi, Steve Bimson here from
Joined at Marketing.
Today. I wanted to tell you about an interesting meeting we had with a prospective client recently, where they provided a timely reminder of what's often referred to as the golden rule and how it really doesn't work in all situations. What's the golden rule, I hear you ask? Well, it's an ancient proverbial wisdom based upon the idea of treating other people the way you'd like to be treated. Sounds sensible, doesn't it? Well, in this post, we're going to take a look at what happened with our prospective client. I'm going to give you a little bit of context to help you understand what's going on here. And then we'll look at how I responded to his initial reaction. We're going to look at why this can screw with your marketing results because it can really be damaging, and how not applying the golden rule will help. We'll also consider why it's even more important when you're working offline, face to face with people, than it is online, and how you can make all of this work for you. And to help, I'm going to leave you with a few questions to show you the way forward or help you work that out for yourself. And finally, I've got a word of thanks because I had a little bit of help in crystallizing this idea and putting it all together. Anyway, what happened with our prospect? Well, we showed him a few examples of the kind of content we felt he should be providing to his prospective clients based on understanding the profile of his clients and who they are and the conversations we've had with him about why they buy and so on. His immediate reaction was there was too much detail, too much content, and all they really needed were the main bullet points. So that would be a no then. Or would it? How did I respond? Well, I'm going to come back to that in a minute. First of all, I want to give you a little bit of context about what's going on here. You see, we're all totally unique individuals because we all walk our own unique path, our own unique journey, if you like, through life. The life experience we've lived are totally unique to us. No one has ever walked your path before you, and no one else will ever walk the same path again. Whether you realize it or not, you are, by this very definition, a trailblazer. And that applies whether you like the thought of being a trailblazer or not. And it also applies whether you feel like a trailblazer or not. Truth is, you are. Now, in addition to this, we all think in our own unique way. We all learn in our own unique way. And we all have our own unique perspective on things. And that's exactly as it should be. Having said that, there are also patterns in human behavior, and there's a lot of science around the personality type and personality profiling, as well as around communication styles, the way we process information and how we communicate with other people. You may have heard of VAK. These are visual, auditory, and kinesthetic communication styles. Now, when it comes to personality profiling, there are lots of different tools, from Myers, Briggs, Caliper, and Truity to DISC, Wealth Dynamics, and Motivational Maps. Now, I'm not familiar with all of them, but I have done various levels of training in those last three. Let's come back to our story and think about how I handled the client and his reaction. So I explained to him about the natural instinct that most people have to apply the principle of the golden rule, treating other people the way they would like to be treated. And when it comes to our values, ethics, and integrity, I couldn't agree more. For example, if you want people to be polite to you, be polite to them. If you want people to show you respect, be respectful. If you want people to help and support you, be helpful and supportive. And if you want people to be open and honest with you, be open and honest with them. And so on. Essentially, it's up to you to set the example for other people to follow. And that, to me, is how the golden rule should be applied. However, it really doesn't apply when you look at it from the perspective of personality type and communication style. You see, our prospective client is a high D in the DISC profiling system. This means he's very confident, he tends to be dominant, is very direct, very driven, tends not to take things personally if you're equally direct with him. In fact, he's likely to respect that about you. He's decisive, making decisions quickly and easily. He doesn't need a great deal of detail, although he likes to know it's there. And so brief bullet points work for him. That's enough. Now, my knowing this, just because of the communication we'd had with him, made his immediate response to me all about being too much detail, too much content, and the fact that all people needed is the bullet points. It made me completely understand where he was coming from. I wasn't surprised by this at all because it's typical of his personality type. And as we all have a tendency to do, he was judging the content we showed him based on his standards, based on his assumptions that we should treat his prospects as he'd like to be treated. And that's understandable. All of us have a tendency to behave that way. So, why can this screw up with your marketing results? Well, let me tell you. You see, the DISC personality assessment uses four main personality characteristics, hence the acronym DISC. They are dominant, influencing, steady, and compliant or conscientious. Now, we all have elements of each of these characteristics, and the DISC profile test allocates us a score out of 100 in each of those characteristics. This means that there are actually 100 million different DISC profile results. That's 100 times 100 times 100 times 100. Of course, when it comes to summarizing different personality types, they tend to group them into categories to make things simpler. But here's the point that's really, really important. The population breakdown in the UK of DISC personality type is as follows. Only 3% of people are classified as D types. 11% are I types. S personality types are the biggest section, they make up 69%, and 17% are C type personalities. If we allowed our prospective client to present his business based on what he needs to make decisions, he'd completely alienate 97% of his market opportunity, which would dramatically impact his marketing results. Now, perhaps this has already been happening and at least partially accounts for why he's not getting the results that he wants at the moment. Perhaps it's why he's talking to us in the first place. But this was something he clearly wasn't aware of. Now, if he told me that his ideal client happens to be high D people, that would be fine. But I've yet to meet a business owner who thinks in those terms. They all want to maximize their market opportunity, not restrict it. And interestingly, as I was explaining all of this to him, it quickly became clear that he emphatically didn't want to restrict his marketing opportunity in this way. So how do we move forward? Well, not applying the golden rule here helps. Essentially, we need to be inclusive in our marketing messages and strive not to alienate people. What this means is we should always present our marketing information in a way that takes into account the needs of all personality types as far as humanly possible. The detail should be there for those who need it, but we should also present it in a way where those who don't need the detail can quickly and easily scan through and find what they do need. Similarly, as far as possible, we should always present information using all three communication modes: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Otherwise, we potentially limit our market opportunity even further. For example, video these days is very popular because a large proportion of people are happy to watch them, providing they're interesting, engaging, and give them the information they're actually looking for. Information that's relevant to them. That's the whole point of it. However, up to a third of people don't want to watch a video and would prefer to read. So this is why I always advocate transcribing or explaining the content of a video on a web page. Otherwise, you've immediately lost up to a third of your market opportunity. And the other reason I advocate transcribing or explaining the video content is for SEO purposes. You see, search engines can't read the content of a video, but they can read the words on the page. If you don't explain on the page what the video is about, you're far less likely to be indexed and to get benefit from a search engine optimization perspective. If you do both, then it's really, really powerful. So why it's even more important when we get offline. We've been focusing on our online content and making sure it's presented in a format that ticks the boxes for everyone, irrespective of their personality type and communication style. But this is even more important when you're dealing with people face to face. Being able to understand and identify different personality types and communication styles, and then responding accordingly to communicate on their level, is essential in face to face situations like sales presentations, workshops, training, team meetings. And that applies equally whether you're presenting to a large audience, a small group, or an individual. It's also a critical factor in your ability to convert prospects to clients, both online and in person, at a higher rate. And whilst we're going a little bit off topic here, it's also worth noting that we build much stronger teams when we take the personality types and communication styles of our team members into account. And it's even better still when we recruit from that perspective. So, how can you make this work for you? Well, hopefully, you can see that if we blindly follow the golden rule, we can dramatically limit our market opportunity because whole sectors of people just become alienated. And that makes it more challenging for our business to succeed. Whilst I wholeheartedly advocate adopting the philosophy of the golden rule when it comes to our values, ethics, and integrity, in all other things, it doesn't make sense at all. It just doesn't work. In fact, not only should we refrain from treating people how we'd like to be treated, we shouldn't be treating them as they might tell us they'd like to be treated were we to ask. What we should and need to do is treat them appropriately for their personality type and communication style. That way, we can really make sure that our marketing messages will resonate with a much wider audience. In case you're wondering how this might work in practice, this post is an example of content that's geared to tick the boxes for all personality types and communication styles. I'm just going to draw your attention to some of the things we've done. So the content's signposted near the beginning, and we've used bullet point titles there, which are actually links that connect to the related section in the post itself. The subtitles are used throughout to make sure that it's easy to scan for those people who want to be looking through and scanning the information. And we also use bullet points in the content for the same reason. Appropriate images have been used to help engage people visually, and some topics, of course, are more challenging from this perspective than others, but wherever you can use images, it's good to do so. And storytelling plays an important role. There's a story running through this post for engagement and to provide real-world examples of the content that we're covering. And all personality types like stories. Lastly, we've used this video as well for those who prefer to watch rather than read. Now, all of these things help make the content easily accessible to all personality types and all communication styles, providing the detail for those who need it and making sure the content's easily scannable for those who don't. So here are a few questions for you that will help you show the way forward for you in your business and your marketing. Your answers to these questions will help, so please take a little time to answer them. So, number one, I'm an ID in DISC and a star creator in Wealth Dynamics. So, A, do you know what your personality type is and what it means? And B, do you know about and have a general understanding of other personality types as well? Two, because of my knowledge and understanding of personality type and communication, it's something I'm really fascinated in actually. I've spent time and trained and learned how to communicate with other people appropriately. A, do you consider these things I've been talking about when you communicate with other people? And B, if so, exactly how do you take them into account for the different personality types and communication styles? And finally, question three, given what you've discovered here today, what changes might you make to improve your knowledge, understanding, and how you approach this challenge in the future? What can you do moving forward? And if you answered no to any part of question one or two, your answer to question three really should include finding out more about personality types and communication styles. And you might even consider doing some training so that you can start to communicate with everyone far more effectively. I guarantee if you do this, your marketing and sales results will move on to another level. And finally, a word of thanks. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my colleagues at the Chair, a small networking group that I attend every week. At each meeting, we discuss a specific topic that's brought to the table by a member. And I was able to bring this topic to the chair the other week. We had a terrific discussion that really helped me to crystallise the message I wanted to convey and the best way to do it. So thanks to everyone who participated. Your thoughts, ideas and contributions were greatly appreciated, and they proved to be incredibly helpful. Now, if you found this post interesting, thought-provoking and or useful in any way, please share it with your network and anyone you think may find it equally useful. We'd really appreciate it. Anyway, that's enough from me, Steve Bimpson from Joined Up Marketing, and I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for your attention today. Bye for now.